The next set of directions asks us to write the equation of each line in slope-intercept form. So I wrote down for you what slope-intercept form is. Basically, it's the slope with an intercept. Now, it's specifically the y-intercept. And this is the form of the equation y equals mx plus b. And basically, all we have to do is make sure y is by itself. When it is, the term, the coefficient, m, in front of the variable represents the slope. And I've used that term before, and I said the reason they use m for slope is because slope is steepness, and mountains are steep, and mountain starts with m. The y-intercept is b. For whatever reason, that's what they decided to use, and that is the y-intercept because when we take this mx, if we set m or x equal to 0, if I cross this term out, we are left with y equals b. So that is the y-intercept. If you take the x term and you set it equal to 0, you're left with b, and that is our y-intercept. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this form, and here are the problems. We've got slope equals 8. So what you're going to do is you're going to write down y equals, but then in place of the m, we're going to put the number 8. So we have y equals, and again, the slope is 8 right here. That's what this number is. And so we're going to just put this in place of the slope. And then we have the x term, x, and then we have plus. In this case, we have a y-intercept of 2. So that's our y-intercept. So we're just going to bring that straight down here, and there is our answer. That is the slope-intercept form. I like to call it the slope y-intercept form, so you know what kind of intercept that is. So let's take a look at another one, a very similar problem. The only difference is this time we have a fraction, and we have a minus sign for the y-intercept. So we start off with the same thing. Remember, our form is y equals m. Now the slope, it gives us the slope. So we just put that number in place of the slope. So 1/2 is the slope here. We're going to take that number and just put it in place of m. So we just write 1/2. And then again, we write the x term. X is our input term. So we write that. And then plus, and then we have our y-intercept. This time the y-intercept is negative, and that's okay. Just put that number right in place of the y-intercept there, -3. So we could have written this problem without that plus negative. It would save us a pen stroke or two. And so we could have written it as y equals 1/2 x minus 3. It means the same thing. And so here's our slope. This is our y-intercept. So this time, the next type of problem doesn't give us a y-intercept. So it's a little bit more work. So we're going to do the same thing. So remember, here's our formula. It goes y equals mx plus b. This time we don't have the b term. This is what we're looking for. But we do have a couple things. We've got 3 things. We've got the slope. So this is m right here. This number here is going to go in place of the m. Well, here we have a point. So this is our x value. So we're going to take this 6 and put it in place of x right there. And then this, -2, that is our y value. So we're going to put it in place of y right there. And then we'll go ahead and solve for b, our y-intercept. So here's what we've got. We'll go ahead and do that substitution. We'll take that -2, and we're putting it in place of y, equals, now m we said was 2, so 2, and the m right next to the x means it's being multiplied. So we put that times sign, and then the x term is 6, and then plus b. And so we go ahead and do some work here. We've got to multiply those two numbers. That makes 12. And so now we've got this. We've got -2 equals, and then we've got 12 plus b. So all we have is one more step, and we've got our y-intercept. So we can just subtract that 12 from both sides. Take it away, and we've got our number. Now remember, if they're the same sign, you're going to end up adding those two numbers together. So we got -14 there for b. Well, that gives us our b value. We'll need this number, and so we're going to use that number. We're going to use our slope, which was given to us initially, and we're going to put it back in for m and b in that slope-intercept form. So let's go ahead and rewrite that. Y equals mx plus b. And again, we're just going to substitute. We're going to take our m value and our b value and put it in place. And we're going to keep y and x the same way, so we have an equation. So y equals m, which was 1, or which is 2 in this case, 2x, and then minus 14. I put minus because it's a negative 14, so just minus 14. And there's our answer. So we don't want to put the point back in for y and x because we're not doing that. We want to make an equation out of this. And this way we can go ahead and graph this equation, and it tells us something about the line. It tells us the y-intercept's negative 14. It tells us the slope is 2. Well, here's another problem. Same sort of thing. Again, we're going to put these numbers, the slope, in for m. Again, when you have the point, you're going to put the x value for x and the y value for y, and then solve for b. So we'll go ahead and do the substitution here. We've got, this is our slope, so that's going in for m. We've got the negative 4 is our x, so that goes in place of x right there. And this is our y. 1 is our y. And so we're going to put that way over here in place of y, and I'll solve for b. So let's go ahead and rewrite what we've got. So we'll rewrite the 1 right here. 1 equals, and then 1/2 times by, and then we've got a negative 4, and then plus b. So we go ahead and do that work there. Well, negative 1, or positive 1/2 times by negative 4, we're dividing basically 2 into negative 4. So it makes a negative 2. And I'll bring down the plus b, the equals, and the 1. So we just have one final step here to get b by itself. And that's just to add 2 to both sides. So opposite operations solves equations. And so now we can go ahead and find out what b is. And so the 2's canceled out. We're left with 3 on the left-hand side, and that's what b is. So there's our y-intercept. We have our slope, so we can just rewrite those numbers, the m term, which is our slope, the b term, which is our y-intercept, into the equation, y equals mx plus b. Again, we leave it in the equation form so we can have a line, so we can have an equation that represents a line. So we rewrite y equals m, which is 1/2, x, and then plus 3. So there it is. And so again, oftentimes people wonder, why don't we just put that negative 4 back in for x and y in for 1? Well, we're not doing that. We want to come up with an equation of a line so that we can put any point in for x and come up with outputs, or y values. Plus, this gives us a fast way to graph a line, which is what we'll do tomorrow.